Hey everybody, and welcome to the next episode in our special series of Thrive, live from the AICPA Engage. My guest today is Denise Bethel. She is the Senior Director of Business Development in the California Society of CPAs. Denise's journey is anything but ordinary. She's growing up in a family of accountants. She swore she'd never follow that path, yet there she is, shaping the profession in unique ways. We explore the role of AI in the future of accounting and tackle the challenges of finding and keeping top talent with Denise. Denise also opens up about building authentic relationships, of course, achieving work-life balance, and her creative approach to networking. And spoiler alert, it involves costume-themed pickleball. Well, anyway, you don't want to miss this conversation, so let's dive right in.
Welcome to Thrive, a Paychex business podcast, your blueprint for navigating everything from people to policies to profits. And now, your host, Gene Marks.
So first of all, thanks for joining.
We're
recording. We're talking. Yeah, this is good. So let's get back to this. So you grew up in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. Your dad had an accounting firm. Yeah, his own firm.
His own firm.
Okay, and yet that's not how you got into accounting. Like you were going to do the opposite thing. What happened?
I come from a family of accountants and CPAs.
Yes.
My mom and dad have an accounting firm. They have.
So your mom is a CPA as well.
She's an accountant. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So they had this firm growing up, and every year during tax season, they would just work all the time, all day, all night. And I talk about taxes at dinner, breakfast, and lunch, and I just hated it. I was like, I never want to do this. My sister went the opposite route and got her CPA license.
Unbelievable. So you were the black sheep.
I was the black sheep.
Okay.
Went to college, did marketing. My dad said, don't do marketing. You don't know what you're doing. It's not a great career.
He was right, by the way, but keep going. I gave the same advice to my kid. It depends on the kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But okay, fair enough.
Emphasize that. Get out of college. I worked at Paychex, actually.
Okay. I didn't realize
for
that.
a year.
Okay.
Worked in pharmaceutical sales.
Okay.
Consulting. And whenever people ask my dad, like, oh, how are your girls doing? It's like, oh, great. Natalie's a CPA. She's in San Jose. She's
and Denise
thriving.
is a disaster. We don't know what's happening with her.
Oh, how's Denise doing? She's a drug dealer. She sells drugs because I was in pharmaceuticals.
Because you're a pharmaceutical rep. Yeah,
so
right.
technically, you know.
Fair enough. So he wasn't lying. Right?
Yeah.
So what got you into accounting?
Well, the Cal CPA position opened up. I was in technology at that point. I love technology. I love the company I was at. It was just a lot of travel, and I had 2 little kids. So this role came up from Cal CPA. It was interesting. I felt like I knew enough of the pain points of accountants, seeing my dad as a small business owner.
Sure.
And it was appealing. So did it, applied, took them a couple months to figure out they really wanted me. And they did. And I've been here for 6 years now.
So are you a CPA?
No.
Did you ever have any experience in accounting itself?
No.
But you gotta know more than the average bear, only because you're family, right? When it comes to finances, whatever. I'm not saying you're some financial expert, but I mean, you were exposed a lot to it.
I know the pain points. I remember when I was little, the Paychex rep would come with the books.
Yeah.
And I remember how the clients would come in with boxes of receipts from my dad. And he'd have to finagle it, be creative, figure out the laws, and figure out how to make it work.
Got it.
So I know the challenges.
So you've been with the California Society of CPAs now for how many years now?
6 years.
6 years. Your title, Senior Director of Business Development. What does that mean?
So we have 2 teams that work with me. I work with our partnership team, which does all of our sponsorships, relationships with vendors to help bring resources to our members. And then our firm team, which just goes out every single day talking to firms, finding out what their pain points are, how they're doing, what they need help with.
Got it. I'm surprised that California has a California Society of CPAs. I mean, it's the 4th largest economy in the world, your state. You know what I mean? I would have thought it would have just been broken up into different regions and whatnot. How are you guys organized? Like, there's the California Society of CPAs up top, I guess, and then you have regions, I'm assuming, and chapters.
14 chapters.
14 chapters, right. How often are you visiting these chapters?
In the firm team, we have 2 reps in each area, and they go out every day seeing firms, talking to them. I travel a lot to Southern California because LA is our largest chapter.
Okay.
There's 14,000 members in LA, which is bigger than some states.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, so I go to LA quite a bit to see our firms, but I really do a lot of talking and going to conferences to learn more about what's out there,
Right.
new partners, new technology, and how we can help our firms.
Got it.
So I travel out of state more often.
Is it different practicing accounting in Southern California versus Northern California?
It's a different attitude.
Is it? What's the difference?
Southern California, I feel like they're very strong at networking, and they want to do that.
Interesting.
And they take all kinds of business clients. Northern California, I feel like there's a lot of emphasis on technology and startups, and there's a lot of excitement around that.
Got it. What do you guys do then for your members? Like what has been like your top services that you provide?
I mean, we offer a lot of live and virtual education,
Right.
But our strength has really been in-person communities. That's our catalyst. It's what people love about us, and you can't get anywhere else because we have 14 chapters. They have their local president, local vice president. They do events that are local to the region, like San Diego does pickleball, volleyball, and hiking.
Wow.
LA does fun, exciting things like axe throwing. They do leadership development. We really cater to each chapter and their needs and what the area really wants, to the younger members and our older members too.
Do you ever play pickleball?
I do. I love it.
But you're under the age of 80. I don't understand. I thought you had to be like an old retired. I know it's very, very popular.
We do like costume themed pickleball.
That's ridiculous. What does that mean? Like Star
80s
Wars?
gear.
Are you serious?
A Taylor Swift gear pickleball contest.
See, that's why it's not a real sport. When people you're
It is.
doing
You
that,
get sweaty.
I don't know about that. That's really funny. And what about axe throwing? You ever try that?
I missed that event.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go to it, but I had to go to an award dinner, and I was so bummed.
Yeah. Only in America do you have axe throwing events. Just says something a lot about us as a country.
There's also smash rooms.
There's the smash. Yes.
Have you done that?
I've never done it. You go in with like baseball bat and just like
Well, you put
destroy
on a big
like fruits.
suit and a hat to cover your head.
Yeah, it's one big Gallagher show.
You can
you
just
know?
I saw it on a reality show.
Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to do it.
All right, fair enough. Talk to me about the issues that the state's facing right now. I mean, what you guys, California and New York State, set the tone for the rest of the country in a lot of things, not just in the accounting world, you know,
Yeah.
but in the accounting world, like the states do. So technology is one of them. You told me like you go around, you help firms with technology as it is.
Yeah.
What are you seeing? What are you seeing with AI?
With AI, it started out with lots of confusion, like, is it going to replace the jobs? And it's not. And now the question is, how do we use AI effectively? Where can we use it to streamline things and automate things? And then how do we teach and upscale our current employees to be more advisors and go into advisory services versus doing the clerical part of it?
How do you do it?
What do you mean?
How do you do that? How do you teach your people to leverage AI? How do you teach them to understand that it is something to make you more productive so you can be an advisor? I mean, nobody seems to have figured out how.
Well, we go to all these events like these conferences,
Yeah.
and we try to really curate what we send or share with our members,
Yeah.
and give them the right information. That's not just saying use AI, but saying here's a step-by-step how to use AI, what you need to do. And then we do things in person where we say, if you're curious about AI, talk to this person here. Let's do a workshop. Get your laptop out and let's play around with it and see how to do it, how to verify that this information's right. Because you can do, some first year associates sometimes come in and they like use AI to do a tax return and it's all bad information.
Yes.
So how do we help them show them walking the steps and everything. Here are the vendors that we know and that we like to work with and partner with that are trusted. They did their research. They have their software and everything is going to help you and not put you in the wrong path and open you up to liability.
How do you use AI? Do you use ChatGPT?
I do.
What do you use it for?
Everything.
Yeah, me too.
My friend,
Everything.
a close friend of mine, this is a little bit crazy, but she replaced her marriage counselor with,
ChatGPT.
yep,
I kind of get it. I really do. I mean, I don't know if I would actually replace. I'd probably cut down on the counts. I would like supplement.
Yeah,
Do you know
cut
what I
down.
mean? But yeah, it is everything. My wife uses it all the time for advice. There is a generational gap with ChatGPT. People that are of older generations like myself are using it to replace search, which makes sense. Because, why go to Google and do a search? They give you like 20 different web pages to go and look up something, and ChatGPT will just give you the answers, right? Younger generations are using it kind of like your friend, where they're using it as like a life guidance counselor, like as a friend to advise them through life. And it's interesting to see how different people are using it. Do you use it at work?
I use it every day.
For what?
I love to write and talk, but I am very casual. So when I am writing that's a little more professional, I write it out, my thoughts, and I put it in there, let it kind of give me a professional polished version, and then I go back and edit a little bit to more my voice style.
Sure, that's great. What do you tell CPAs about using ChatGPT? Like, what advice do you give them?
It's not perfect. I've done little tests on it before, and sometimes the facts they spit out are a little bit inaccurate.
Yes.
So use it, but use it with caution and really fact check it. You still need to check out facts and where the sources came from. And you can ask ChatGPT. You can ask, where did you find that information from? And they can give you the site, and then you can decide if it's right or wrong. Is it a good site, like a government site, or is it some vendor trying to sell something to you?
Right. It's funny that you say that, because I do use it as well. I've caught it out being wrong a bunch of times. I will ask it, like, I'll do research for like an article that I'm writing, and again, rather than Googling and having like 87 different sites, just saying like, give me the facts there, and then I'll be like, can you provide me the source of these facts? Sometimes it will come back to me and be like, I can't do that, sorry, I goofed. You know what I mean? Like, it literally will admit that it was
wrong. It admits when it's wrong.
And meanwhile, I'm like, jerk, you know what I mean? Like, you're leading me down this wrong road, whatever. But then again, I also think to myself, like, what assistant is 100% right? I mean, the smartest assistants are going to make their mistakes as well, or whatever. So you just got to take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, and by the way, everybody talks about it's like ChatGPT. Is that all you use? Like, do you use Copilot or Gemini or Claude or Grok or anything like that?
I've used Copilot before in Gemini. I think on our work system and our technology at work, we just use Copilot a little bit.
Got it.
We're still figuring out what's right for Cal CPA, because we don't want to give wrong information out also.
Right.
So everyone's trying to figure out their policy around AI, how to use it, when to use it, and when not to use it, and how to, if you use ChatGPT and you're on your personal account, when you leave that company, how do I keep that client information secure?
Every firm needs to have an AI policy.
Yes.
And pointing out exactly the things you just mentioned. Who's allowed to use it? What's allowed to be used? What is it not allowed to be used for? Best place to go to create an AI policy? ChatGPT. It at least gets you 90% there.
It gives you a start.
Okay. And then you can obviously formulate it. But it tends to be the best place. I've recently, I go on X a lot and Twitter. And so they've got Grok. And true story, like if you go, I get my news from X, and it used to be, I do, and I will, whenever people say like, where do you go to like, when you want to get like unbiased news? Well, I get my news from X. When I do see some news that catches my attention, I will then go to the New York Times, I'll go to the Wall Street Journal, just to validate and triangulate it so that it's like, okay, here's what the actual facts are. But just a few weeks ago, X now has, there's a Grok button on every post. So if somebody posts like, riots going on this week in LA, as we're recording this, you look at somebody's post, and then Grok will give you the background to that, and will give you a pretty good balance, like the person is, posting or saying this, but actually it's that.
Here are the facts.
Yeah, it's actually quite good. Like, it's kind of like trying to sort the good from the bad. So
it's helpful. We need those kind of checks and balances in there.
Yeah, it's really, it's really, really important. So do you find that, like, when it comes to training for AI, like you just admitted it, like you're trying to figure out Copilot, like even for the society, So I'm like, why don't you guys like hire a trainer? Bring in somebody from Microsoft, cough up a few $100, have them pay them by the hour, and have them walk you through everything you need to know about Copilot for the society, and teach you what you need to do. Right?
That's a great idea.
You think about it, and that person could do it with like one or two people in the society to teach them, and then they can spread that knowledge. And then you guys then go out to the accounting firms and say,
help them.
This is what we've learned. Let us show you what to do. So
that's a really good idea.
You're welcome.
If it works out, I will give you a royalty.
I don't need a royalty. That's fine. No royalty. No.
Bottle of wine.
Right. Fair enough.
Okay.
Okay. Talent and recruitment. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Huge issue in the profession, right? Why?
I think there's 3 challenges they're facing right now. One's like recruiting new talent and keeping your current talent and helping them move out of the clerical work and letting things get automated, and then teaching them, upskilling them, teaching them how to be more consultative and have the soft skills. I think the younger people grew up differently than we did, right? They did more screen time, more virtual communities.
Yes.
So when they get to this role, they think that coming into accounting, it's going to be a lot of behind the computer doing stuff, but you actually have to go out a lot. And numbers are important, but the most important part is talking to that client
1,000%.
and helping them understand what this means. That's what I saw with my dad growing up. He'll say he's not a great mathematician or anything by any means, or great. But
By the way, you don't need to be a great mathematician to be a good CPA.
So what he did was he was really good at talking to people and finding out what was going on and what this meant for them.
Yeah.
I even heard him a couple times, basically doing marriage counseling in there.
Yeah.
What it means to get a divorce and how it affects your house and the taxes and everything else.
Yeah. He's probably saved more marriages than he can count, only because when you lay out those facts, people are probably like, you know what, I'll stick it out with the guy. It's otherwise financially ruinous.
He has a kid named Ariel. He has a kid that has his name because the parents were he saved so much money on taxes.
So they
named their kid after him.
That's good. Now that is a reward for being a CPA. I don't know if there are many CPAs that can say that.
He is, he's like a role model for me. What he does, how he connects his business. He's always just all about the relationship. And he doesn't claim to know everything, but he'll find the answer for them and he walks them through it. And even when he retired, he's retired 3 or 4 times. He keeps on going back to it because clients still call him on his cell phone. They want advice. So
it's funny how even in 2025, the personal relationship is still so important.
It is.
And you're right. I think a lot of younger people, they want to have this relationship with their clients as well, and maybe older people. Did your dad have younger employees in his firm, or was it just him and your mom?
It was always younger people. He loves men. He also taught accounting at a local community college and in high schools. So he's a teacher, but also a consultant. So he always, even when he had his firm, he still taught at the college level because he loved finding new, younger talent.
Got it. So, there's been this disconnect, I think, with younger people trying to get quicker through the numbers and more into the consultative side. Mm-hmm. Some people have told me that the accounting profession needs to be more focused on psychology and therapeutic, and because a lot of that is important. It's the human aspect of it is really, really important. What about certifications? What are the certifications in California? Do you guys still require 150 hours, or is that of work? Do you know?
I should be up to date on that, but I need to check in on that
part.
It's
fine. It's fine. That's completely fine. The reason why I say this is because the certifications themselves also were getting onerous around the country, and that was turning a lot of younger people off as well. It seems like the tide is turning a little bit, and that more younger people are getting involved. But if you were running the show for all CPAs in the country, what would you be telling them to do to improve not only the recruitment, but retaining, staff?
In terms of recruitment, it's about really modernizing the profession, first of all. You have to stop talking about working nights and weekends and all night. We have to change the narrative about what accounting is and what CPAs actually do. Because so many CPAs I talk to have life balance. Yep. Yes, they work a little harder during tax season, but they still go to bed. They still go to their kids' basketball game. Yep. But there's also flexibility in accounting because you are doing that work behind the scenes. You can do that at different hours. You can go to school, read a story to your kids' class, and then come home and do the work, and then take conference calls. We need to show that case, that part of it. We do this thing called firm crawls at Cal CPA, and we take students from different colleges and put them on a bus and drive them to accounting firms. So you can see the different energy. You can see the big office downtown and see, do you like the perks of being downtown, where there's in-office soda machine and a kegerator or something like that, and lunch every other day. Or do you want to go to a small firm in a suburb where you can walk to a coffee shop and you guys can talk together at lunch and hang out? It's showing the candidates and the students these different options they have and fitting, as much as they're interviewing you, you're also interviewing them to see where you fit in.
Got it.
And where do you want to work?
What are your thoughts on CPAs not necessarily having to do audits or tax? There's a lot of other things that people that have this certification could be doing. Do you know?
Yeah. One of our most recent firms that joined Cal CPA actually was a firm of about 80 employees. 20 of them were CPAs. The rest was all operational or advisory.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I always thought of myself as the world's worst CPA. I mean, I'm like, for me, like, unlike your dad, like, if it's close enough, it's good enough. And
people trust you, though. So that's the point. They come to you because they trust you.
I mean, I do a lot of writing and I do a lot of speaking and we do financial consulting. There's a lot of things you can do as a CPA. You don't have to necessarily be a tax preparer. And I also it makes me bristle when particularly older guys, and I mean guys, talk about all the hours they work for busy season and all the whatever. I'm like, dude, you are not attracting people to this profession when you talk this way.
Yeah.
Because people that are younger just don't want to have that life. That's not like, life is more than working 100-hour weeks,
Totally.
So people don't get that,
I mean, the younger generation wants to have a purpose in what they do.
Of course.
They want community.
Yeah.
They want to grow professionally. And they want work-life balance. Those are the 4 things they really want.
It's funny because I remember before the pandemic, there was a big movement among millennials, like screaming and yelling to work more from home. And I remember the people that were running firms just resisted it. No, you come into the office 5 days a week and that's, whatever. And then the pandemic hit and everybody started working from home. And then, the firm partners were like, wow, I guess everything that they were right. Everything we can get them. Now, obviously, there's a balance.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like people do want work life. They want that diversity.
Yeah.
And you don't live to work; you work to live. You know what I mean? And I think it's important that partners realize that.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said, though. When the pandemic just first ended, a lot of firms were coming to us and telling us how their new hires were struggling with getting promoted because that learning curve you get being in an office,
yes,
sitting in a cubicle and hearing how your colleague handles a situation is not there.
Yep.
So they have to understand if they do want to go completely remote, the learning curve is different than if they would be in person. I mean, and once you get good at your job, you've built the trust and credibility, then you can go remote.
Of course. It's funny. I was talking with a friend of mine, and he manages a regional firm outside of Philadelphia, and I don't know, 150 partners. I mean, like it's pretty. Yeah, it's a nice size firm, and he's like the biggest pushback he gets from the people that they're trying to mandate people return to the office is from his older partners. It's like the younger people want to come in because they appreciate. First of all, they want a social life. They like going out for beers afterwards. They like being around, getting mentored. The whole thing. There is the thing to that. It's the older partners that are like, I just want to stay at home in my house in the mountains and work from there. Kind of. I know
what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing. I don't really.
So you do have to train the younger guys.
Yeah, you got to train the younger guys. It's a very unique time you and I are in because there's like 5 different generations in the office now, and I don't know if that's ever been the case in American, industrial history that we have this many generations working and trying to get along, and it's really important that people come in the office and learn from each other. Okay, so you deal with a lot. You've been 6 years here now at Cal CPA. You have met a bunch of CPAs. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you have worked with a bunch of independents. You've gone to different firms. There have got to be different firms and people that you have met that you're like, these guys are like rocking it. I love these guys. They're running like a great firm. Like these guys are going to be around for another 50 years,
Yeah.
Without naming names, what are they doing?
So there's one firm that just came on as a member recently, based in the Bay Area.
Now you're giving it away. See that? Everybody's going to be looking this up. Who are these people?
And he's probably 30 years in profession. He not only has a great accounting firm, and they're growing rapidly and doubling in size, but he also created a foundation attached to the firm that just goes out and does financial literacy.
That's great.
Because CPAs as advisors, they know about money and how to do this
Absolutely.
right. They parlay into this nonprofit, and all he does is go to high schools and colleges and give workshops on how to apply for an apartment, credit reports. When I was a student in college, I went to University of Nevada, Reno, and the first thing you do when you walk to campus, apply for a credit card, get a free t-shirt. I'm a poor college student. I love t-shirts. I I got 10 of them.
And you love credit cards
And
once you get a credit line.
cards. There's a mall right there. I didn't know I had to pay it back.
Yeah.
And my dad's an accountant. No one told me.
Yeah. I mean, you do have your dad that can help you, but there are so many people that need that financial literacy and they don't have that. So what you're saying is, as an example, this is a guy in the profession who not only runs a firm, but he gives back.
He does. And he gives back at what he's good at.
Yeah.
So he found a way to take his expertise and use it to give back.
That is great.
I mean, my kids read his book, and they're 9.5, and they're not near that.
Twins?
They're twins.
Yep, me too.
And one of them was like, "I'm ready, Mommy, to get a house." I was like, "A little while ago."
Yeah. My response would have been like, dude, I am ready for you to get a house as well. I am thrilled. Let me know when that happens.
Exactly.
You know? Now go talk to your granddad. He'll tell you how ridiculous that statement was. Anybody else? Anything else come to you? I mean, that's a really good one about giving back, teaching financial literacy. That is like a sign of a great CPA in the profession. But anybody else that's doing anything that's like, wow, these guys are really the culture of the firm, the way they are with their employees, the technology they use.
There's one other firm, or two other firms I can think of. One other firm, the main partner there is the face of the company, basically. He does not try to fit the mold. He does not wear a suit to work every day. He wears bright, colorful outfits. He has a little handkerchief thing in his pocket all the time.
Okay.
And he posts, as much as he does about work stuff, he posts about his workouts on his professional page.
Yeah. So he merges his personal life with his professional life because it endears and helps him engage.
It's who he
clients
is.
in his
He's not
community.
going to hide it.
Good for him. All right, that's great. That's great.
He gets a lot of people looking at what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he brings excitement when they have their all hands, when they have DJs there. Like, that brings an energy you can't get.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't expect it in a normal accounting firm.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's say that you quit Cal CPA. You never will.
Okay.
You never will. You're going to be there. You're going to be there forever. Just hypothetically, you've been exposed to the profession. You've been exposed to a lot of successful CPAs. Well, and you know what? You do your father proud, and you get your CPA certificate. He'll be jumping for joy. Probably he'll be in shock, actually. But okay, right. And you're going to open up your own CPA firm. What kind of a CPA firm would you have?
I mean, my own personal, I think I would focus on companies that help, nonprofits that help kids. Because I have a passion for volunteering and giving back myself. And I always align myself with boards that help with kids and families.
That's great.
So I think I want to specialize in nonprofits and really help them maximize their revenue potential and the tax savings.
Great. That's great. Final question. You go back to your college age self.
Getting free t-shirts.
Yeah. And you give yourself some advice, knowing what you know now. What would you say?
You don't have to know everything.
Don't apply for that credit card.
Don't apply for the credit card, but always be curious. Keep on learning and really know who your tribe is. I think no matter what stage I went through in my career, that I've worked, paychecks, pharma, consulting, healthcare, I've always had a group of friends that are like a similar stage in life that I've always been able to bounce ideas off of. And having the tribe to go to and ask questions, even at this stage of my life, it's been helpful. And being curious to learn and ask why more often has been amazing. You don't have to know everything about accounting, but you have to ask questions.
You nailed this. Thank you.
Thank you.
This was perfect. Thank you very much. Do you have a topic or a guest that you would like to hear on Thrive? Please let us know. Visit payx.me/Thrive Topics and send us your ideas or matters of interest. Also, if your business is looking to simplify your HR, payroll, benefits, or insurance services, see how Paychex can help. Visit the resource hub at paychex.com/works. That's WORX. Paychex can help manage those complexities while you focus on all the ways you want your business to thrive. I'm your host, Gene Marks, and thanks for joining us. Till next time, take care.
This podcast is property of Paychex Incorporated 2025, all rights reserved.